Hello YouTube and welcome back to the Kanto Weekly Show, and this week is week numero 6, so we are just, we're nearly at the halfway stage because there's 15 weeks, technically 17 if you count the playoffs, but this was the penultimate week before we're halfway, so in the group stages, so whatever the table's looking like now will probably be what it is at the end of the season, possibly, so at the end of that video you'll know who's going to be like near the top, near the bottom and whatnot. So, few talking points to do before we get into the videos. First of all, there was a trade this week. The New England Blizzards have traded away Quagsire for Alakazam. Now, going with a bulky water ground type to a specially attacking frail psychic type. So, I'm not... hopefully, the Alakazam can put in work for New England Blizzards because I'm a fan of Alakazam. I much prefer Mega Alakazam, but Alakazam can still put in the work. So hopefully that trade comes into effect for the New England Blizzards. And also, there was a forfeit game this week because there was scheduling issues and there wasn't very good communication between the coaches. So Sugarcraft City Swirlix versus the Green and Guzzlords. Sugarcraft City Swirlix has got the forfeit win for that game because he showed me messaging the Green and Guzzlords and he wasn't responding, so unfortunately Green and Guzzlords have picked up a forfeit this week and Sugarcraft City Swirlixes have gotten another win under their belts because of a forfeit. Now, so move on to the actual first game where we have the Ottawa Garchomps who got their first win of the season last week versus the Wellington Ho-Oh who are pushing into the playoffs positions at the top of the table. So, as you can see, the Ottawa Garchomps are rocking Arcanine, Heliolisk, Azelf, Rhyperior, Hydreigon, and Barbaracle, and the Wellington Ho-Oh are rocking Rotom Wash, Tyranitar, Garbodor, Acelgor, Celesteela, and Necrozma. Now, Celesteela, Necrozma is just two bulky boys, so they're going to stay around forever. Rotom Wash can be bulky, can be not. Garbodor, I'm not really a big fan of Garbodor. It gets up toxic spikes and that's about it, all it does. Acelgor is a speedy mother trucker and Tyranitar can be bulky, can be physically attacking. So there's options for the Wellington Ho-Ohs in that scenario. We've got the Azelf who's usually nasty plot, rocks lead. Hydreigon obviously is a monster, my favourite. Second favourite dragon, should I say? Second favourite dragon is a monster. Heliolisk is Volt Switch shenanigans. Rhyperior is Stealth Rocks as well, if it's not on the Azelf. Arcanine can be a bulky Fire Boy, or it can be a extreme speeding, flare blitzing monster. And Barbaracle is obviously Shell Smash. So, let's jump into this first game and see how it goes down. So, Ottawa Garchomps Heliolisk versus the Acelgor, who U-turns out and does a solid 40% to the Heliolisk as the Heliolisk Volt switches out. So both switch turning out into Rhyperior. Versus Tyranitar, Rhyperior switches out straight into his Heliolisk as he switches out into his Rotom Wash. Both buffed by Sandstorm. Volt switch again, so the only moves that have been happening so far have been Volt switch and U-turn. Once again, turn 3, only use Volt switch and U-turn. Ridiculous. This is the switch games. This is just switch games. So goes for liquidation on the Tyranitar into the Rocky Helmet. Necrozma switching in, so you switch out into his Hydreigon versus Necrozma as it goes for the Thunder Wave, paralysing that Hydreigon, which could come in clutch late game, especially if this Hydreigon is Choice Scarfed. So, U-turns out again, so the only move that's used by the pesky skitty this game is Liquidation, or U-turn, or Volt Switch. So, Shell smashes up with his Barbaracle on the switch in to the Rotom Wash, so doesn't fancy staying in against Rotom Wash minus defenses, so he goes out into his Rhyperior, who is Lightning Rod, which I don't understand why you're Lightning Rod, because you are ground type, so you're immune to that anyway, unless you've got rocking a special type move on there. So out comes Celesteela versus Heliolisk, who Volt switches out, which does oof 92% to a Celesteela is nothing to be laughed at. So this must be a defensive Celesteela, because because that did absolutely a butt ton of damage. So that's good. So out comes the Arcanine as the Celesteela goes for Autotomize. It's now lightened and nimble. So he goes for the Air Slash, which is 35% to the Arcanine. Doesn't get the flinch, and Flare Blitz just OHKOs, and Arcanine picks up the first kill of the game on turn number 11. So out comes the Rotom Wash. Out comes the Paralysed Hydreigon as he misses the Hydro Pump on his Rotom Wash. Goes for the Hydro Pump again, which does nothing to the Hydreigon because it's obviously resisted. Hydreigon gets the full power as he goes out to his Aselgor. As Hydreigon U-turns out once again, out into his Arcanine. Gets into that drop on that Aselgor, who's most probably choiced. Most probably. And so he goes out into his Rotom Wash versus the Signal Beam on the Rotom Wash for probably predicting the Hydreigon switch in or the Azelf to switch in there. So out comes into Gym and Necrozma, out comes the Arcanine. Gets some leftovers recovery on Arcanine as he misses the Toxic. As on the Toxic miss, Gym just moonlights back up to full. Just moonlights back up to full. So out comes Rotom Wash versus the Arcanine. He lands a Toxic on the second attempt, and now his Rotom Wash is now poisoned. So he switches out into his Hydreigon, predicting the Hydro Pump, which he does do. And still does 32%, but it's resisted. So continue to do that. As he U-turns out against the Garbodor into the Rhyperior. And now on this turn, Garbodor switches out into his Rotom Wash, predicting the Earthquake, which the Rhyperior goes and dives for. Stacking up that Toxic damage on that Rotom is always nice. Goes for the Signal Beam on the Hydreigon, and down goes the Hydreigon with that Signal Beam, which was already revealed. So good play by there. Wellington Ho there. Out comes the Tyranitar versus the Arcanine. Lands a Toxic, so 2 Mons are Toxic now. This Arcanine is just Toxic stalling the Wellington Ho-Ohs right now. So he switches out into his Rhyperior, predicting I don't know, but Boytoy comes out predicting the Rhyperior switch into that. I don't know, but you know, it's out now. Out comes Healisk, predicting the Hydro Pump. Dry Skin, heals it back up to 25%. Toxic damage is starting to stack up on this Rotom Wash, so he switches out into his Tyranitar. As Healisk goes for Volt Switch again. Switches out into his Rhyperior. Toxic damage is still stacking up against most of Wellington Ho-Oh's team. Out comes the Necrozma. Earthquakes it to smithereens. Stealth Rocks are up by Jim as the Earthquake goes back 40%. Out comes the Healisk, who is going to Moonlight back up again to 75%. Volt Switch. This Healisk is putting in the work. It must be choice specs. It literally must be choice specs. Out comes the Photon Geyser by the Necrozma, which is Psychic Hyper Beam, which is nothing to a Azelf because obviously it's resisted. So dives for the Shadow Ball because it can switch out. There's Pursuit from the Tyranitar, picking up the Revenge Kill on the Azelf. As Toxic damage is still stacking up against the Wellington Ho-Oh. Rhyperior goes for Earthquake, outspeeds Tyranitar, and down goes the Tyranitar. Out comes the Aselgor, who goes for Focus Miss, and Bollywops that Rhyperior. I forgot his name. As it goes for a Focus Miss again, so this thing must be choiced. So goes for the Flare Blitz and gets the Revenge Kill on the Aselgor. Out comes the Garbodor as the Arcanine goes for Morning Sun, but in the sand doesn't heal enough. As the Garbodor goes for Curse, so it can potentially put in some fantastic work with +1 attack. So he goes for Stomping Tantrum, which the Barbaracle lives, as he goes for Endeavour and brings the Garbodor down to 10%. So he can switch into his Arcanine, or his Healisk, should I say. He'll outspeed it, click the Thunderbolt button, and that goes down. And out comes the Rotom Wash. He goes for the Signal Beam, which OHKOs the Healisk. Rotom's now on 7% hit points. That Morning Sun came in clutch because he could switch in his Arcanine, so he just click Extreme Speed and OHKO the Rotom Wash, and the Garchomps win with a 17% Arcanine. Now, this was Pesky Skeet's now got 2 on the bounce now, which is very, very good. So he's climbing away from the relegation zone, whereas the Wellington took a step back in pushing for those final playoff spots because he's around the green/yellow zone. Now, talking points from that game were obviously this game was switch game because there was U-turn and Volt switches everywhere, literally everywhere in that game. MVP for that game was definitely this boy, this Fire Doge Arcanine, who Flare Blitz, E-Speed, Morning Sun, Toxic, got the final kill, managed to get the Rotom Wash on a Toxic Timer and the Tyranitar on a Toxic Timer, got Revenge Kill on the Arcanine, on the Aselgor, sorry, Revenge Kill on the so it killed the Rotom, it killed the Aselgor, and it killed the did it kill the Celesteela? I think it killed the Celesteela. It did, it didn't, my bad. Healisk was obviously Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Volt. That Healisk put in the amazing amount of work because it did over 90% to a Celesteela. It walled the Rotom Wash with Dry Skin and Thunderbolt being resisted. And yeah, and obviously Azelf got the Revenge Kill on the Photon Geysing Necrozma. Rhyperior with Lightning Rod Earthquake got the kill there. Hydreigon mainly just got paralysed and just U-turned shenanigans so he could get the switch initiative on against the Wellington Ho-Ohs. And the Barbarica was Shell Smash, Liquidation. Endeavour. Wasn't expecting Endeavour to... I've never seen Endeavour ever. That rhymed. I was a poet and I didn't even know it. I've never seen Endeavour never in League. It did a huge amount of damage against the Wellington Ho-Oh and was a good bring. It brought down the Garbodor to enough health so the Helios can just kill it with the Thunderbolt, which is a very good play by the Garchomp there. Rotom Wash was obviously Signal Beam prediction on the Hydreigon to knock that out was very good. Obviously had Volt Switch shenanigans once again. The Tyranitar was Pursuit Trap the Azelf to get the revenge kill for the Azelf killing his Necrozma. Garbodor was Curse Stomping Tantrum, got a kill versus the can't remember. I'm losing it. I'm actually losing it. Got a kill. A Selgo was U-turn focus miss. And obviously Celesteela was autotomized. Didn't do a lot because that Helios put in the E-Fines to work against it. Obviously Necrozma was Rocky Helmet, Thunder Wave, Stealth Rocks, Moonlight, and Photon Geyser, which did nothing to the Azelf. And Azelf just revenge killed it. So that's game number 1. Our first game, which was a 1-0 victory to the Ottawa Garchomp. Now, we move on to game number 2, where we have the Boston Cyndaquils, coached by Dylan, versus the Power Squad, who this week are coached by Tony. Now, Boston Cyndaquils are rocking Kartana, Mega Gallade, Landorus Firion, Tapu Fini, Reuniclus, and Kamao. And the Power Squad are rocking Scolipede, as always, Umbreon, Manaphy, Togekiss, Mew, and Zydoge. Now, obviously, Power Squad's tactic is like set up as much as you can, bat and pass, 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 into like Zygarde or Mew or whatever, and just win the game. That is their plan strategy for this entire season, and it's worked for some weeks, worked for not some weeks. It did. I think it did. Did it work last week? Did it work last week? It's probably going to be spoilers, but did it work last week? It did work last week. It did work last week because it got the MVP. So yeah, it works, it doesn't work, it works, it doesn't work. But hopefully, Power Squad. Obviously, if it's a one-trick pony, all the coaches can just plan for that and just run Haze or Clear Smog or whatever, or Whirlwind or Roar, just to get rid of that shenanigans on that team. So obviously, I don't know what on the Boston Cynical team does get any of those moves, but hopefully he can deal with that problem as much as he can do. So let's jump into this game and see how game number 3 works out. So out comes Kartana versus the Scolipede. Kartana switched out straight into Kamao as the Scolipede goes for Iron Defense. So it's Iron Defense speed boost. Goes for the Bat and Pass straight out into his Togekiss as the Kamao goes for Dragon Claw. Predicting that Dragon Claw goes out into Tapu Fini as the Togekiss goes for Air Slash, which does pretty much nothing to Tapu Fini. So he goes for the Air Slash flinches, which doesn't get. Goes for the Surf, which is 32% back. So Surf is doing more than Air Slash. Gets the flinch. That's flinch number 1 versus the Togekiss. Tapu Fini, sorry. So he goes for the Moonblast, gets a crit and does 53% damage. So goes for the Roost to try and just stall out the Tapu Fini because 2 Moonblast does kill it. So Air Slash gets a flinch. There's 2 flinches because that Moonblast would have killed the next turn. Air Slash. So that's very unfortunate for the Boston Cynicals there because if he didn't flinch, that Moonblast would have killed that Togekiss. Goes for the Roost as the Reuniclus goes for Psychic, which is 31%. Air Slash, that is flinch number 3 for this Togekiss in this game, which is absolutely ridiculous because Togekiss is just a monster. That's 4 flinches for the Togekiss, which is very... Is it going to be flinch number 5? No, as the Reuniclus goes to recover, gets it back up to full health. So Togekiss gets recovery as well. Goes for the Carmine boosts on his Reuniclus to try and O-code his Togekiss as he switches out into his Manaphy. Goes for a Carmine again, so this Reuniclus is now +2/+2. As the Manaphy goes for Tail Glow, Reuniclus goes for Psychic, which is 66% to this Manaphy. Lives the Surf, and because the special defense drop, the Psychic can kill next turn against this Manaphy. Out comes the Zydoge, who then he switches out into his Landorus Firion, gets Intimidate drop off on this thing as it goes for Outrage. So now he's locked into Outrage. He switches out into his Katana, which does nothing to it. So he goes for Outrage again, as his Katana goes for the card's rocking Citrus Berry. Now, I've never seen Citrus Berry on a Katana before, but hey-ho. You see everything in PIDA. You see everything in PIDA. So, goes for Leaf Blade against the Zydog. Lives on like 10%. So, it's rocking a Babiri Berry on his Tokies, predicting the Smart Strike, as the Tokies goes for Heat Wave and Oko's this Katana, which is a very good bring by the Power Squad there. So, Landorus obviously goes for Stone Age. Most obviously Choice Scarfed. But this Mew is also, in fact, probably Choice Scarfed, because his Ice Beam just, he keeps spamming Ice Beam, so this Mew must be Choice Locked. So, Mega Blade goes for knockoff on the Mew, which reveals the Choice Scarf. As the Mew then goes for Dazzling Gleam, the Mega Blade lives because Gallade and Gardevoir have got stupid high special defense for no apparent reason whatsoever. So the Mega Blade comes out, switches out into his Uniclus versus the Zydoge, goes for 1,000 Arrows, which does 54% to this freaking Reuniclus. As he switches out into his Komodo, 1,000 Arrows still does 54% to this Komodo, doing a ton of work to everything on his team. So he sacks off the Komodo versus the Zydoge as he goes back out into his Reuniclus. As he goes, the Power Squad go into his Umbreon, he predicts the Psychic, and obviously Umbreon's immune to that. So he goes for the Baton Pass, straight into his Scolipede, as Reuniclus starts to set up his Calm Mind. And now, substitute on the Scolipede to get, as he's trying to get a sub speed boost up, Baton Pass into probably Zydoge, then he can sweep the game. But this Psychic just breaks us up every single time, so it's going to be very hard for the Power Squad to try and get that tech off in this game. Because you go to Protect, there's the Psychic. Trying to play the mind games, the Power Squad right now. So try and, as he Baton Pass out straight into his Umbreon, goes for the Psychic, which does nothing. So he goes for the Mean Look, so now Reuniclus is now trapped in. As he goes for Shadow Ball, and as it goes for Z Celebrate, the move of PIDA, I think most coaches in Kanto have used Z Celebrate. So this Umbreon is just spamming Celebrate, Baton Passing, to go out into his Scolipede as he goes for the Calm Minds to get it to enough special defense boost so it can live a Psychic from this Reuniclus at +3, which it probably won't do because it's Reuniclus at +3 and you're only at +1, so it's going to break the sub. So he goes for the Psychic, which of course breaks the sub. Gets the Black Sludge recovery. The Scolipede's now at max speed. Goes for Protect. Just trying to play the mind games against his Reuniclus. Not working because he's just spamming Psychic, which that's all he needs to do. But at some point, he's probably going to run out of Psychics and PP sort them out, which is probably the game that Power Squad are rocking right now. So he's Baton Pass straight into his Umbreon as he goes for the Shadow Ball, predicting that switch out. Most probably trying to save his Psychics as his Umbreon just spams Moonlight. Shadow Ball does nothing to Umbreon because it's obviously resisted. It's not stab. It's a +1 special defense, even though it's not anymore because he got the special defense drop with Psychic. But out comes the Mega Gallade versus the Umbreon. He goes for Moonlight. And then Baton passes straight out into his Scolipede as the Mega Gallade goes for Drain Punch. Gets some damage off as the Scolipede goes for Iron Defense. Mega Gallade goes for Psycho Cut, which does 44% to Scolipede. Lives the hit. Gets some recovery damage off. Goes for Protect as it goes for Psycho Cut again. So Baton passes out into his Umbreon as he predicts that and goes for the knockoff, which does nothing because obviously it's a Z user. Goes for the Drain Punch. Does 33% to an Umbreon. That's ridiculous. Umbreon is just too fat. Even though it's +3. To go down to his Zydoge, which I don't understand why he went down into his Zydog right there. Because he's on no health and he's going to click a move. He's going to click Drain Punch most probably. So I don't know why he went down to that. So that pretty much won Mega Gallade the game because obviously I don't understand why he went out into his Zydoge with the stat boost because he wasn't going to live a Drain Punch or a Psycho Cut or knockoff or anything from this thing, even with the stat boost on his Zyguard because it was like 3-5% or something like that. So I would have just kept switching out between Scolipede and Umbreon until just stalled out as much as possible. So that's game number 3. MVP was obviously Mega Gallade, who picked up 4 kills and got the sweep late game with knockoff, Psycho Cut and Drain Punch. Unsure what the 4th move was, probably Poison Jab or something like that. The likes of the Togekiss. Reuniclus was obviously Calm Minding up to try and sweep late game, but because of the Umbreon couldn't really do that, even at +3/+3. Umbreon just ate the Shadow Balls up for days, so that was a good thing by the Power Squad to try and stall that out late game, but obviously it didn't come to full fruition because he obviously lost the game. Landorus Firion was obviously Choice Scarf Stone Edge to outspeed the Togekiss at +1 or whatever speed it was at. So, and then it just got revenge killed by the Mew, who was Choice Scarf as well, so it outspeed that. Tapu Fini didn't really do that much this game, apart from Surf and try and Moonblast. The Togekiss would have got a kill if Togekiss didn't flinch it to death. Komodo, all it did was Dragon Claw and just not a lot, to be honest. And Kartana was Citrus Berry with Leaf Blade, bringing that Zygarde down to low enough health. So late game, if that Zygarde didn't take that Leaf Blade damage, would have potentially had a chance to sweep the rest of the team. So Kartana did put in work. Also the Babiri Berry on Togekiss, so it lived the Start Strike and got OK'd by the Heat Wave, with a very good bring by the Power Squad there. Obviously Z Celebrate from the Umbreon was just what, if you've got an evolution and you don't bring Z Celebrate, you're doing something wrong in this league. You're doing something wrong. Obviously Mealunk to try and trap the Reuniclus in because it couldn't touch it, so it's just so it could try and set up as much as it can. Versus the Reuniclus try and PP stall it out, so the Scolipede or the Zygarde could potentially sweep it late game. Obviously Zygarde was outraged in 1,000 Arrows. So Outrage was, I don't know why he brought Outrage, because he's got a Tapu Fini and a Kartana right there. I would have clicked Dragon, so if it was locked in, you can just predict that. Oh, you're locked in, let's switch out into my Fairy type, it's immune. I'll switch into my Steel type, I'm a resist it. So, I personally wouldn't have brought Outrage. Togekiss, obviously rocking Air Slash, Heat Wave, Roost, Babiri Berry, got 4 flinches. 4 flinches, this is what Togekiss does, Serene Grace shenanigans, stupid. Obviously Mew got the revenge kill on the Landorus with the Ice Beam. Obviously got Dazzling Gleam, didn't do enough to kill the Mega Glade because obviously it was Mega Glade's got some stupid high special defense. I think it's like 115 or something stupid like that. I don't know why. Gardevoir and Glade have got stupid high special defense, and I don't understand why. Everyone just said, oh, this Mega Glade, it's not got great defenses. It's got like stupid high special defense. Ridiculous. And obviously Manaphy got Tail Glow Surf, did nothing to the Reuniclus, and Reuniclus just OHKO'd it back with some Psychics at plus whatever what it was at the time set up. So that was game number 2. Boston City Crawlers pick up a win there. Power Squad dropping down from a 6-0 victory last week, going back down to a 2-0 loss. So Power Squad are very inconsistent because they have different battlers, obviously, and the tech they play can work sometimes, doesn't work most of the time. So now we move on to game number 4, where we have the Black Sea Curums, one of our undefeated coaches, versus the Sydney Shamans, who are, I do believe, in the yellow zone of this league. So obviously Black Sea Curums are rocking Mega Medicham, Clefable, Gliscor, Comfey, Tornadus, and Steelix, whereas the Sydney Shamans are rocking Vaporeon, Mega Pidgeot, Tapu Lele, Slurpuff, Jolteon, and Zygarde. Now, obviously Tapu Lele is a monster, but Steelix and Clefable can potentially stop it. Zygarde as well, obviously stopped by Clefable and the Floor and the Comfey and the Steelix, even though Steelix doesn't reach the ground, so but it's stupid high defense, so should be okay with that. Vaporeon is obviously going to be a wish set or a Celebrate set. Belly Drum Slurpuff can put away against this team once the Steelix is down, because even a Drain Punch at +4 is going to do like max 50% or something stupid like that to Steelix, and it just kill the Jarable. So if Steelix is gone, Slurpuff could potentially sweep the Handclaw Fable as well. Mega Pidgeot can put in the work with, like, obviously he's got no guard, so if he wants to evasion spam with his Gliscor, which he usually tends to do, he can counteract that with his Mega Pidgeot. And Jolteon, once again, could be Volt Switch shenanigans, can be Z Celebrate as well. So the Sydney Shamans have quad Z Celebrate options on their team, whereas the Black Sea Curums are rocking, obviously, Unaware Clefable. Steelix can be Bulky Boy, Jarble, Stealth Rocks. Gliscor, he tends to bring Evasion, Agility, Baton Pass, Earthquake. So get some speed on his like the Mega Medicham or the Comfey or the Tornadus that could potentially sweep late game. Obviously Mega Medicham is my favourite Mega. Madness, the Mega Medicham. Can put in the work once the Tapu Lele is gone, because I think he gets Poison Jab. It gets Bullet Punch at least, so that works as well. Obviously, in Psychic Terrain, he can't do that. So Poison Jab is probably the answer. And let's jump into game number 4 and see how this one pans out. So lead for Batman versus the Mega Pidgeot. As you switch out into his Steelix versus the Mega Pidgeot, as it goes for the Hurricane, which does 29% to this Steelix. As the Mega Pidgeot U-turns out straight into his Vaporeon, predicting the Heavy Slam, which does nothing to this Vaporeon. As he switches back out into his Gliscor, as he switches out into his Jolteon versus this Gliscor, which is a very interesting play. So it's already Hidden Power Ice on his Jolteon to OHKO that Gliscor. So Steelix goes for Rest. Resto, Chesto, Steelix. I'm thinking, wow, this man has some weird tactics and they work, so I'm impressed. Vaporeon goes for Scald on this Comfey as it goes for the double teams. As it Baton passes out into his Mega Pidgeot. As it goes for the Z Celebrate. Did not know that Comfey got Z Celebrate until I watched this game. And obviously, predicting that, it just went for the Whirlwind and Comfey just switched out. So, Mega Pidgeot is going to be very crucial to stop the evasion spams for the Black Sea Curiums in this game. So, out comes the Jolteon, knowing he's got HP Ice, goes back out into his Steelix, which does nothing to it with HP Ice. As he goes for the Heavy Slam against the Zygarde, which does nothing because they're two big boys. So Heavy Slam's got not a lot of base power. As he goes for 1,000 Arrows against the Gliscor, can't really hit it because 1,000 Arrows can hit everything. 1,000 Arrows does about 34% to this Gliscor. As it goes to Agility, he's obviously going to Baton Pass out. As it Baton Pass out into his Vaporeon, he Baton Passes out into his Mega Medicham, who can potentially just do the most. As the Vaporeon goes for Protect, predicting the high jump kick. Just goes for Fake Out, just get out the Protect. As he goes out into his Tapu Lele, the Mega Medicham goes for Drain Punch, which does pretty much nothing to this thing. There's the Poison Jab. Down goes the Tapu Lele, a +2 speed Mega Medicham. As he goes for the Drain Punch, obviously not having high jump kick, or rocking both, but it's scared of the Protect and just kicks Drain Punch. So he's got Fake Out, Drain Punch, and Poison Jab. Against his Mega Pidgeot, he switches out into his Steelix. He goes for Hurricane, because Hurricane was going to kill it every day of the week. So he goes out back into his Comfey, goes for the Heat Wave. Comfey eats it up as it goes for Priority Synthesis. So it goes for the Hurricanes again, which is 59%. Comfey is now confused. If that confusion did not hit, this Comfey would probably still be alive. Gets a crit on the Hurricane and down goes the Comfey. Mega Pidgeot U-turns out versus the Tornadus out into his Zygarde, who then goes for the Heat Wave. Gets the burn on the Zygarde, shutting down the Zygarde for doing any more work in this game. As it goes for Torn, goes for the 1,000 Arrows, which does nothing because now it's burn, obviously. So he switches back out into his Gliscor, goes into 1,000 Arrows, which does nothing now because obviously he's burnt. It's 17%, and he's recovering 12%, so every turn is doing 5% damage to Batman, so it's doing absolutely nothing. As the Gliscor goes for Agility on the Mega Pidgeot switching, goes for the Baton Pass out into his Tornadus. As Mega Pidgeot just Whirlwinds it back out into his Steelix, he switches back out into his Tornadus, goes for the Heat Wave, doesn't get the burn, goes for the Hurricane. Jupiter lives, gets confused, but dies anyway. So, yeah, very oof moment there by the City Shamans. U-turns out against the Clef out to his Jolteon. He goes for the Moonblast, does just under half to this Jolteon. There's the Hidden Power Ice, which does 25%, which is absolutely nothing. Clefable just goes for the Wish. So, just wishing. Wish Stealth Rock set. Back up to full with his Clefable against his burnt Zygarde. Goes out into Gliscor because it can't do anything anymore to this Gliscor because it's burnt, obviously. Gets the Poison Heal damage back off on his Gliscor. 1,000 Arrows again. Does absolutely nothing again. Gets his Agility off to try and Baton Pass out again with his Gliscor out into probably Mega Medicham. There's the drops damage from the Mega Pidgeot as he goes out into his... Yeah, there's the Mega Medicham. Goes for the Fake Out, which is 33%. Gets the Flinch, obviously, and then goes for Drain Punch because knowing a Drain Punch Fake Out combination would kill this Mega Pidgeot. Now he outspeeds his entire team. Goes for the Poison Jab. Kills the Slurpuff. Goes out into his Jolteon. Outspeeds it. Goes for the Drain Punch. OHKOs that. Goes out into his Burnt Zygarde and OHKOs that. So Mega Medicham picks up 6 kills this week in a 4-0 victory. So Mega Medicham is definitely MVP of this game. And also the MVP of the week in Kanto. So Mega Medicham, the best Mega, obviously, because we've got 6 kill this week. With the help of Gliscor, definitely put in the work against the Sydney Shamans. Obviously, Clefable was Wish Rocks. Rocks helped as well to guarantee this Mega Medicham could OHKO the Mega Pidgeot with a Fake Out Drain Punch combination. Gliscor was a Delete Band Pass, which helped the Mega Medicham sweep late game by making it outspeed everything on his team. Comfey was Double Team Z Celebrate Synthesis. Unless, if that Mega Pidgeot did not have Whirlwind, that Comfey could have put in the finest of work against the Black Sea Curums. I mean, the Sydney Shaman, shall I say. Tornadus was Heatwave, Taunt, got the Confused Death, so Mega Pidgeot got, I think Mega Pidgeot got 2 Confusion Deaths with Comfey and Tornadus, so there we go. Mega Pidgeot putting in the work. Hurricane, Heatwave, U-Turn, Whirlwind. Whirlwind was a definitely good bring by the, obviously what I said before, but definitely good bring, knowing he's got set up in his, he sets up with Gliscor. Definitely, that Gliscor baton passing, agility, evasion puts in the finest of work. So if you're playing him next week, you need to be aware about that. Obviously, Vaporeon was baton pass, Scold, Protect, probably had Wish on it as well, or Z Celebrate, one of the two. So Vaporeon could have done more, but it didn't really. Obviously, Jolteon had HP Ice for the Gliscor, but did never touch it with Hidden Power because he's predicted to switch out into the likes of the Tornadus. I mean, the Steelix, sorry. And Zygarde was 1,000 arrows. Could have potentially, if it wasn't burnt, could have potentially shut down that Gliscor more and would have stopped the Mega Medicham getting a +2 speed and stopped the Black Sea Curans picking up, carrying on their unbeaten start to PIDA in Division Kanto Season 1. Now we move on to game number 5, where we have the Boston Typhlosions, which is one of the newbies of the league, because his first game was last week, where he got, I think, a 5-0 victory as well. I want to say he definitely won last week versus the Pure Pidgeots, who were in week 3 undefeated, now are not. They are, I think they're 3-3 right now, or 3-2, or something like that. So we've got a newbie who smashed it first game versus a team which is slowly on the decline. I think they're in the yellow zone right now, but hey ho, maybe they can pull it around with this game. So the Boston Typhlosion are rocking Nihilego, Hawlucha, Starmie, Tangrowth, Mega Garchomp, and Alola Marowak, whereas the Pure Pidgeots are rocking Piloswine, Blissey, Darmanitan, Mega Latios, Greninja, and Silvally. Now, Garchomp can potentially put in the finest of work once that Piloswine and that Mega Latios are down, because obviously Mega Latios definitely outspeeds Mega Garchomp. Because if it was Lord Garchomp, it could have been Choice Garchomp would have outsped it and could have potentially put in the work. But it's not, it's Mega Garchomp, so that's annoying, a little bit annoying. Obviously, the Hawlucha can put in the work against this team, barring the Latios once again. So Latios is a very big problem for the Boston Typhlosion this week. Starmie, no, not Starmie. Alola Whack is probably the best option. That and Tangrowth to deal with this thing, because it's the only one that's not weak to Dragon or Psychic. Oh, Starmie could potentially stop it as well. So he's got Starmie, Marowak, and Tangrowth to stop that Mega Latios. Greninja, Protean can definitely put in the work, depending on what moveset he's rocking. And also the Silvally as well, potentially based on what typing or plate he's put on that Silvally. Let's jump into this game and see how it goes. So he leads with Nihilego versus the Greninja, as he switches out straight to his Blissey, as it goes for the Toxic Spikes. Goes for the knockoff on the Blissey, knock off his lefties, as it goes for Seismic Toss on his Blissey, which is generic Blisseys. As he's going for Seismic Toss, Nihilego is just setting up all its hazards. All its hazards, double Toxic Spikes, double Stealth Rocks, single Stealth Rock. They switch out into his Marowak. The Seismic Toss, which is doing nothing to that. As he goes for the Toxic on the Marowak, Marowak goes for Fissure, misses, because you know Fissure's allowed, because PIDA's amazing. Wish, Flare Blitz, bop! Down goes that Blissey. Never seen a Blissey drop so fast. Out comes the Darmanitan, who takes up Toxic damage and Stealth Rock damage as he goes into a Nihilego, sacking it off versus the Earthquake. So, gets a revenge kill on that. Out comes the Hawlucha, who goes for Substitute, as it goes for Flare Blitz, breaks the sub, takes some recoil damage, takes some Toxic damage, and knowing the Hawlucha outspeed can just spam Substitute and make the Toxic damage put in the work. Goes for U-turn, which doesn't break sub. Out comes the Silvally, who is revealed to be Fairy typing. Goes out into Silvally as it goes for Double Team. As the Silvally goes for Ice Beam, lands it, even with the Double Team up, breaks the Substitute, and continues on. As the Hawlucha goes for Substitute again, Misses because of the evasion boost on his Hawlucha. Toxic damage starts to stack up. Double team now to +2. Goes to the Ice Beam, still lands it. Breaks the sub. And toxic damage is starting to rack up against this Silvally. As he goes for Substitute again. Lands Ice Beam again. 3 times in a row, even at +2 evasion. So evasion is not always the best option to go for because it's luck based and you need a lot of luck. So there comes the Roost versus the Hawlucha. As he goes for Icicle Spear. Now, I'm confused why he went for Icicle Spear rather than Icicle Crash on his Piloswine. Because A, that does more damage, and B, would have guaranteed to kill that Hawlucha most probably. So he goes for Icicle Crash against the Starmie, which does not a lot of damage because obviously it's resisted. So this goes for the Surf, OHKOs his Piloswine. Life Orb Starmie with the +2 evasion. Out comes the Greninja. Switches out into his Tangrowth just in case he does land the Dark Pulse and kills his Starmie. Dark Pulse still does a chunk of damage to his Tangrowth. Goes out into his Latios versus the Tangrowth. As he switches out into his Hawlucha, which good switching down by Mega Latios. As the Hawlucha goes for double team, Mega Latios misses his Zen Headbutt, which is very, very unlucky for the JJ there. Goes for Zen Headbutt again, misses 2 in a row, because obviously Zen Headbutt's not got 100 accuracy. He's got 90% accuracy. Goes for the Dragon Dance, just to make sure it can OHKO. Goes for the Ice Beam, misses again. Baton passes out, baton pass down to his Mega Garchomp, who can potentially now just breaks the sub, goes for Dragon Claw. So it's now +2 evasion as Mega Garchomp, and with the hazards and misses the Ice Beam on his Greninja, kills with Earthquake. Out comes the Mantan, who is wounded by Rocks and by Toxic. Goes for the Flare Blitz, does nothing to this Garchomp. Best move it could have went for, but per se, gives the Earthquake, and Mega Garchomp stands alive with +2 evasion with the sub up, which won David and the Boston title the game. Now, obviously MVP for that was definitely the Mega Garchomp, and also the Hawlucha being able to let this Mega Garchomp set up with its double teams and its substitute to make Mega Garchomp sweep late game, which it did. Starmie was Surf, Life Orb, did put in the work as well. So this Hawlucha baton passing out into the likes of the Starmie and the Mega Garchomp definitely helped the Boston type versions pick up that W this week. And also the hazards as well, because if he had potential sashes or the toxic damage did help a lot in that game. So hopefully, if those rocks went up, maybe the game would have been different. Who knows? Who knows? Obviously, Alola Whack was rocking Fissure as well. Didn't land the first time, but killed the Blissey anyway with Flare Blitz, so it didn't really matter. Domantic got the only kill for the Pure Pidgeots in that game against the sacking off against the Nihilego. So yeah, so that's pretty much that game over and done with. The evasion boosts were definitely very crucial in that game. So it's what PIDA's about, evasion. If you don't evade, you lose. So that is the week game number 5 in PIDA, week 6. Now we move on to the other new coach in this league. We have the Honolulu Hawluchas versus the New England Blizzards. And this is the team with the new trade, as you can see, it's already been brought, versus the Honolulu Hawluchas. He's rocking Alakazam, Chansey, Victini, Mega Diancie, Crocodile, and the Zoroark, which is in move slots the bottom, so it's not going to be disguised. So that could, I don't know if that was that may have done something. Why is it in slot number 6? Because then it can't illusion into whatever he wanted it to. So who knows? It's probably, I don't know. Honestly don't know, but I'm just saying Zoroark should not be in slot 6. It should really not. But anyway, and the Honolulu Hawluchas are rocking Mega Aggron, Garchomp, Porygon Z, Beware, Celebi, and the Roserade. Now, obviously, the trade in with the Alakazam can potentially put in the work against, especially against the Roserade and the Beware, and the Garchomp if it's rocking Dazzling Gleam, or Focus Miss if it can deal with most of his team actually. If it's got Psychic, Signal Beam, Focus Miss, and Dazzling Gleam, can definitely put in the work against the Honolulu Hawluchas. Obviously, Victini and Z Celebrate, which the New England Blizzards have brought every single week. I think it only put in work in week number 1. So, one trick pony doesn't always come to fruition. So, they've seen that and just said, right, Z Celebrate, we can deal with that. We can just shut that down. So hopefully the Honolulu Hoichis can do that as well, because obviously the News League probably don't unaware of the Z Celebrating Victini shenanigans that the New England Blizzards like to play around with. Obviously Crocodile can set up rocks, can be a Choice Scarfer, Intimidate, Moxie, can potentially work. Chansey, the bulky, if you like, using Chansey. Mega Diancie can potentially put in the absolute finest of work if it gets a chance to set up Diamond Storms or whatnot, or some Carmines. And then obviously Zoroark can be Illusion, but it can't be because it's in slot number 6. Mega Aggron can potentially just wall this team. Mega Aggron just walls every single team. Maybe not the Victini, but everything else. If he can just be left, if the Victini is gone and the Alakazam, Aggron can just sweep, because Crocodile's physical, it's got stupid high special defense. Chansey can't really touch it. Mega Diancie, the only special moves he can hit it with is like Moonblast, so that's going to do nothing. And Zoroark obviously can potentially touch it, but it's probably not going to. So let's jump into this game and see how this one rocks out. So leads with the Beware versus the Crocodile. Gets the Intimidate drop off on that Beware. As he goes to Protect to scout what this Beware wants to go for. Goes for the Drain Punch. So he switches out into his Alakazam as the Honolulu Hoichis goes out into his Celebi. There's the Victini as he goes for Stealth Rock, so can intentionally put in the work. Goes for Protect, see how he wants to go. U-turn, which is quite effective against his Celebi. Switch out into his Beware. So he goes for U-turn, which is nothing because of Fluffy. Out comes the Alakazam, who's Magic Guard. Obviously could take no damage from the rocks. Out comes the Celebi. Putting the Psychic, which does nothing to the Celebi. Out comes the Crook versus the Celebi. Getting Intimidate drop off on it as it too U-turns out into his Roserade. As Crocodile puts his own rocks up, goes for the Sludge Bomb, which even resisted does a lot of damage because this Roserade is obviously Life Orb. As he goes out into the Chansey, Sludge Bomb does 17% to Chansey because it's a special defensive monster. Out into the Aggron it goes, as Chansey goes for Wish, Mega Aggron Mega Evolves, goes for Autotomize. Now it's the speediest Mega Aggron known to existence, as Chansey, like the Blissey in the last game, goes for Seismic Toss, goes for the Heavy Slam, does 68% to this Chansey as it goes for Seismic Tosses. It goes for Protect. Don't know why I went for Protect, because obviously it's not going to take any damage like that. So it goes down to Crocodile, gets into that drop off on the Mega Aggron. As it goes to Heavy Slam, knocks out the Crocodile, but his Aggron is now -1 attack, so potentially can't kill. But Alakazam just switches in, focus misses, and kills that Mega Aggron. Out comes the Celebi. There's the Psychic. I don't know why I went for Psychic. But I don't know why. But U-turns out against the Alakazam, which does a lot of damage. Out comes the Scarf Chomp, most likely. Down speed an Alakazam. Kills with the Earthquake. There comes the Mega Diancie as Garchomp goes for Earthquake. Oko's the Mega Diancie, proving that it's Choice Scarfed. Out comes Chansey as it goes for Protect. Garchomp goes for Earthquake, trying to stall out his Earthquakes, which is probably not going to make any difference because there's the Earthquake. Out comes the Victini. And outspeed it because he's Choice Scarfed. Earthquake, goodbye Victini. And out comes the Zoroark, who won't outspeed it. Wasn't illusioned. Goes to the Earthquake. Oko's the Zoroark. So, Garchomp this game, Mega Garchomp last game. Chansey this game, Blissey this game. So these games were pretty much parallel. Garchomp putting the kills, with Choice Scarf Garchomp putting in the absolute finest of work. Just with Choice Scarfed Earthquake. Obviously, the Mega Aggron got the Autotomize Heavy Slam kill against the Crocodile, which could have potentially helped the Honolulu Hoichis with the game, because if this Garchomp was a -1 attack, may not have killed the likes of the Mega Diancie, maybe, and it could have killed with a Moonblast. So that's a thing that could have happened. Obviously, Beware was Drain Punch, Celebi was Rocked, which helped as well, because obviously chipped the Victini, chipped the Diancie, chipped the Zoroark, chipped the Chansey, and whatnot. So it could potentially kill. And obviously, Roserade was Sludge Bomb, Life Orb, which put in the finest work, definitely against that Crocodile, which was very, very good bring by the Honolulu Hoichis. And yeah, Garchomp is rocking. Garchomp gets a 5-0 kill. It's not the MVP because of Mega Medicham. This is why PIDA is amazing. It's amazing. So we move on to our 7th game of this week number 6, which is the Sinnoh Starlets, who are also undefeated in PIDA Kanto Division, versus the Quillipack Quillfish New Haven Nut, who are not meme team number 1, rocking Mono Levitate / Flying. And if I'm not mistaken, brought the exact same team as he did last week because he got lazy. So, you know, same team as last week. So, Sean and the Sinnoh Starlets could build around that because he exactly knew what he had. So, he just had to watch that game and go, oh, he brought that. Let's just counter that. Oh, yeah, let's just counter that. Let's just counter that. Let's counter that. So, the Sinnoh Starlets are most likely going to win this game because they obviously know the sets and whatnot for the Quinnipiac Quillfish. So, New Haven Nut, sorry. So, Sinnoh Starlets are rocking Stakataka, Nidoking, Gardevoir, Mammoth Swine, Hooper Unbound, and Mimikyu, whereas the Quinnipiac Quillfish New Haven Nut are rocking Latias, Latios, Mega Latios, Dodrio, Gyarados, Aratam Heat. So, obviously, Rock type, Ice type, Dark type, Poison type, Gardevoir can put in the work against the team. Obviously, if Stakataka gets a Trick Room up, can potentially sweep as well. Hooper can just put holes in the Latis, in the triple Latis. Mimikyu as well. So, hopefully, it should be a good game. So let's jump into the game and see how it rocks. So, first up, we lead with Stakataka versus Dodrio. Now, this is what I love. Turn 1, knockout. Out comes the Trilab guys versus Stakataka, and Dodrio just OHKOs and goes, yep, jump kick. Oh, okay. And if you read by the chat, oh, Sean completely forgot that Dodrio got jump kick, so that was always a bad thing to do. So Stakataka's down already, as the Mimikyu gets the Trick Room up to this Nidoking can put in the work. Go to the Brick Break because obviously Quinnipiac brought the same team as he did last week, so he knew screens were coming. So Nidoking just went in and Brick Breaked because Nidoking gets all the moves it possibly want. Switch out into his Lati to go switch right back out into his Dodrio. Goes for the Ice Beam and Life Orb damage. Goes for the Dragon Dance versus this thing as he goes for Thunderbolt. OHKO's Little Blood. And yeah, not rocking Life Orb. And Nidoking just learned everything as the Latias goes for Evasion. Gets a crit as well. And Latias still lives on 4% as he goes for Roost. Goes for the Sludge Wave. Lives on 6%. Goes for Double Team again, but misses the Ice Beam, so this Latias could potentially sweep now. Goes for Roost as it goes for the Ice Beam, misses again as he goes out into his Mimikyu, as it goes for Double Team again, so now +3 evasion. Goes for the Roost, now it's a max speed as it goes for Trick Room, misses the Shadow Claw versus the Latias as it goes for Double Team again, so it's now +4. Out into Hooper Unbound as it goes for Double Team again, so it's +5 evasion. Goes for Hyperplay Fury, just knocks this thing out. He got greedy. Goes down to his Latios. Hyperspace Fury. Goodbye Latios. Goes out into his Mega Latias. As it goes for Substitute. Goes to Hyperspace Fury. Breaks for the sub because Hooper doesn't care about subs. And that is a 5 victory for the Sinnoh Starlets. And obviously MVPs in that game were obviously Nidoking being the Gen 1 move pool monster. Having Brick Break, Ice Beam, Sludge Wave, Thunderbolt. Gets pretty much every single TM in Gen 1. So obviously it wasn't Life Orb because it was taking, I mean it wasn't Sheer Force because it was rocking the, it was taking Life Orb damage. So potentially that could have made a difference. But it didn't. It could have done. It could have well done if the game turned out differently. Obviously then Hooper Unbound got the late game sweep as well with just the Latis left. You can just spam Hyperspace Fury. Landing it against a +5 evasion boosted Latios. If that missed, the evasion could have won the New Haven Nuts the game, but obviously it didn't. This is why evasion isn't the best thing to run because obviously it doesn't make a difference if you could just land it and just be right. Oh, okay, cool. I mean, it's the same as getting a crit if you're set up with defenses. So I don't know. It could potentially win you a game. It could potentially lose the game. So it's a 50-50 thing with evasion. But anyway, obviously the Dojo got the turn 1 kill, which I love a turn 1 kill. I love a turn 1 kill. So obviously Sinnoh Stars and the Black Sea Cubans are both still undefeated. So getting very, very closer to that penultimate game of week 14 where they both play each other. Fingers crossed they are still both undefeated by that stage and we can have a absolutely stunning game to say the least. Now, last game of this week, we have the Victoria Victinis, coached by Devil, versus the Hungry Big Boys versus Hungry Bidoof. Now, the Hungry Bidoof obviously mono electric, and brings mono electric plus Cloyster every week. change the electric types around each week, but Cloyster always stays. He's rocking both Thunderouses, Zorora, Zapdos, and Galvantula, whereas the Victoria Victinis are rocking Excadrill and Hippowdon, which are like obvious things to bring. They're like obvious things to bring versus a mono electric type team. We've got Pelly Kingdra to. I don't know why he brought Pelly Kingdra. Because he could just rock Thunder on everything and it would miss. I mean, it would land every single time. So potentially, if the Hungry Bidoof predicted rain to come, he'd bring Thunder on some things, but I don't know. Emboar is there as well, which can potentially put in the work as well as the Miss Magius. Obviously, same old thing with Hungry Bidoof. The plan is to kill the Excadrill and the Hippowdon with his Cloyster, and then resort to sweeping with his electric types, which is the usual plan for the Hungry Big Boy. So let's jump into this last and final game as he goes into his Emboar versus the Thunderous. Goes for Head Smash, just like, bye Thunderous. Another turn 1 kill. Gone. As Galvantula goes for Webs, he goes for Head Smash again, lands it again. Galvantula lives on the Sash, and as Galvantula goes for Double Team, misses this is the second Head Smash, as Galvantula goes for 2 evasion boosts, which I don't understand why he went for 2 when you could just killed it, but that's just, something that happens. As he goes, Zorora comes into Revenge Kill with Plasma Fists, down goes that Crackling, out comes the Hippowdon versus the Zeraora, as it switches out into his Cloyster, as Hippowdon goes for the Curse, so potentially this Hippowdon can put in the final work, as Cloyster goes for Double Team, misses the Earthquake on his Toothache, as Cloyster takes some damage, as Cloyster goes for Shell Smash at +1 evasion, can potentially put in the final work, but Hippowdon's got his glasses on and just lands the Earthquake. Anyway, out comes the Zapdos. He goes for Toxic. Toxic stalls in the Hippowdon to try and do the most of it. Gets a crit with the Rock Slide, Okos to Zapdos. So now Thunderous is back on the field as it goes for Double Teams. Lands the Rock Slide anyway because Hippowdon's got his glasses on. And gets 3 kills with the Hippowdon. Out comes the Zorora. He goes for Double Team because he has to at this stage. Goes for the Earthquake. There's the Focus Sash, and it gets killed by the Sandstorm. And that is GG to the Victoria Victinis, who won the game by only using a Hippowdon and an Emboar. Now, obviously, the MVP of that game was definitely the Hippowdon, wearing its glasses to land hits even against evasion boosted mons. Curse, Earthquake, Rock Slide, all you need to know. And yeah, Hippowdon just put in their finest of work. Who would have thought, looking at this team, that Hippowdon would have done the most work? People would have said Excadrill or whatnot. But hey ho, that is what happened in this game. So we now move on to the table where we see the Sinnoh Starlets and the Black Sea Curums both still undefeated, both yet to lose a game. But the Sinnoh Starlets are rocking 6 more differential because of the Black Sea Curums have rocked some 1 and 2-0 games, whereas the Sinnoh Starlets have not. So. And then we move into the 3rd and 4th place spots in the playoffs, where we have the Wellington Ho-Ohs and the Victoria Victinis, who are both 6, 4, and 2. Obviously, both teams are on 12 points, so have a upwards advantage against everybody else in the yellow zone, who is all on 9 points. The Power Squad, the Boston Typhlosions, the Pure Pidgeot, the Sugar Puff City Workers, the Boston Cyndaquils, Tolly Hoichers, and New England Blizzards are all on 3 and 3. So it's very close, because next week we could see 2 different coaches in the green zone. We could see 1 different coach. We could see anywhere between 10th or 9th and 3rd can be switched around because of differential, obviously. But that could be amazing. That could honestly be amazing. We could see this league is so close, and then in the orange zone we have the Sydney Shamans, the Ottawa Garchomps, the Green and Guzzlords, and the Hungry Big Boys, who are rocking either 1 win or 2 wins. Sydney Shamans and Ottawa Garchomps are clawing at the site of the yellow zone, so both of those can be out of it next week, depending on how results go. And obviously the Green and Guzzlord, the Hungry Big Boys, and the New Haven Nut are all on 1 victory, so potentially they need to turn things around. Hopefully they can turn things around and pull away from the orange and red zone and not end up in Johto for season number 2. Now, surprisingly, this video is under an hour. Woo! So, I've tried to cut it down. I've cut it down by like 15 minutes. So, hopefully, that puts it work. I haven't stopped the videos. I've been talking about it after the game. So, that's probably better for you guys watching. But, hey ho, That's what's been done. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button down below. Be subscribed if you're not already. Leave some comments about your thoughts on any of the battles, how you want me to change the video or anything like that. Let me know down in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!